light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's go!
Welcome everyone to the 5 Red Lights. My name is Aaron and this is 5 things that sucked and 5 things that were great about the Hungarian Grand Prix. Let's dive on in. So let's start with the things that sucked, and number 1 is Yuki Tsunoda crashing again in practice and then failing to make it out of Q1. Come on Yuki, you've got to pull your finger out, otherwise Helmut Marko is going to wield that axe and you will be chopped from the Red Bull Racing Young Driver program. And it would be a shame because you are very fast and very talented. Just get it all together, mate, and you will be absolutely fine. In at number 2 was the end of Lando Norris's 15 race, a record-breaking streak where he scored points in 15 consecutive races, driving for McLaren. No other driver had managed that. And think of all the drivers that they have had in their long and illustrious history. Senna, Prost, Hakkinen, Coulthard, Hamilton, Alonso. Alonso only just got 15 races, I think. But, stands to reason. Lando Norris, in the form of his life, 15 races in a row where he scored, and he was hoping to make it 16, and yet he got skittled by Valtteri Bottas. And that sucked. Big time. Third on my list of suckage is Alfa Romeo's entire weekend. They almost got themselves in hot water in practice, where Antonio Giovinazzi was almost unsafely released into the path of Lance Stroll, who then just sort of tripped over the front wing. It was a great show of how strong the front wing is, but that doesn't really save anybody if there's an accident. And then in the race, both drivers picked up time penalties. Giovinazzi actually picking up a stop and go penalty, which is very rare these days, for speeding in the pit lane. And he was way over. He was like 25 kph over or something from what I've seen on Twitter. Madness. Come on, Tonio, that is not the sort of driving that's going to keep you in that seat. And Kimi, well, I don't think you could do much about the unsafe release in the pit lane. Still, Alfa Romeo, get it together guys, because that is a big brand that could do very well if it is run appropriately. In at number 4 is Valtteri Bottas denying us a showdown, a race after their collision between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. This would have been an unbelievable race-long scrap because Max was destined for P2 on the exit of turn 1 and Hamilton was in the lead. We would have had all sorts of games being played. Who would have got onto the dry tyres first? Who would have been able to manage their dries? Who would have got the strategy right? Would Mercedes have still gone for the 2-stop? Would they have given up track position? All things that would have kept us on the edge of our seat. It was a crazy race anyway, but this would have been fascinating given the build-up to the whole weekend. And the 5th thing that sucked about the Hungarian Grand Prix was Sebastian Vettel's disqualification from the race after Parc Fermé, where they couldn't get the fuel out of the car, the fuel sample that they need of 1 litre. It sucked big time because all of his hard work has just gone to waste. They are appealing, but unfortunately the rules are pretty hard and fast on that, and they have to be, otherwise it's just going to be a bit of a shambles. And what are we doing if there is no strong guidance on things like fuel and what fuel they're using? It could become very dangerous very quickly. But Seb, his hard work thrown down the toilet, and that sucks. Let's move on to the things that were great about the Hungarian Grand Prix, and at number 1 we're going to start with Williams, not Rocket Race, just Williams. They got points, and that is awesome. The next thing that was great about the Hungarian Grand Prix was Mick Schumacher getting the opportunity to go wheel to wheel with some of the best drivers in the field. He was racing against Max Verstappen for much of the race, and he got a chance to go wheel to wheel with George Russell, who could be a future world champion contender against Mick, which was great to see. He was defending hard, defended really, really well, drove brilliantly and brought the car home, and didn't, importantly, crash with any of them. Third up is Esteban Ocon taking his maiden Grand Prix victory, a fantastic result for the young Frenchman and for the Alpine team, who have been kind of working their way back up the grid towards this sort of achievement, and very, very well done. They took advantage of the chaos, they were there when it mattered, and they reaped the rewards. The penultimate thing on my great things about the Hungarian Grand Prix was Carlos Sainz having the confidence to lead the strategy for Ferrari. We've seen Ferrari bungle the strategy multiple times with both Charles and Sebastian and other drivers before, and Carlos wasn't going to let that happen. They were going to bring him in to try and undercut everybody else. They could have gone for the 2-stop perhaps, but Carlos knew that he still had speed in the tyres and in the car, and confidence, importantly, in himself. And that kept him on track and got him a P3. Well done, Carlos. What a mature and high quality performer he is becoming. Could he become world champion? And the fifth and final thing that was greatest about the Hungarian Grand Prix was, of course, the showdown on track between Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. Old foes finally coming to battle on the track. And of course they don't have quite equal machinery, but it was still fabulous to see them going at it. Alonso has lost none of his skill and none of his guile, and he's still as intense and ferocious as ever as he defends a position. And Lewis had to go all at it to just try and get past the Alpine. And it was tough because it's a tough track to overtake on, but it was brilliant watching, and that was possibly the best thing that came out of the Hungarian Grand Prix. So there you have it, 5 things that sucked, 5 things that were great about the Hungarian Grand Prix. Let me know in the comments what you thought sucked and what you thought was great about the Hungarian Grand Prix. My name's Aaron, this has been the 5 Red Lights, and when the 5 red lights go out, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.